And we are live. What up, players? Welcome to another episode of Player Life. It is Tuesday, November 8th here in Tokyo, Japan. Been a while since I did a stream, so thought I'd jump on and do a stream today. So, Matt W in the house. What up, brother? Good to see you, bro. So yeah, today's topic, I want to talk about, is it dangerous to love a chick in 2022 with all the craziness of the progressivism and just the whole dating market in general? I mean, is it worth making yourself, because I think when you commit to a woman, not only commit, but actually genuinely love a woman, you are somewhat opening yourself up to you're kind of vulnerable in that state, because if you love a woman, then she can, take away that love. And obviously, if you genuinely love her, it's going to cause you some trauma, some stress. But personally speaking, I mean, I can honestly say I think that the more experience you get with women, um, like the really, when you really start to understand female nature, when you strip away all the mystery, it really does become harder to love women. I got to be honest. I will say that. I think I've probably only loved two chicks in my life, and I would I honestly think that that is because I was innocent. I was blue pill. I didn't fully understand women. Um when I was really young, I mean, I'm talking when I was 19, my first I first started dating. Had my first girlfriend around 19. Um and I mean, I look back on it and I cringe, but I would say I loved that girl, or I thought I loved that girl. I mean, I definitely I felt something. Um, but I mean, obviously at that time I was incredibly naive, incredibly. I really did not understand women fully at all. Uh, very little, very little. And the second girl, I might have been about 23 or 24. 23, I think. Yeah, it was 20, 22, 23. I dated her for like over a year. I would say I loved her too. But that's a long. I'm 34 now. That's a lot. That's a long time ago. And I can honestly say that after the second time, and it's not that I was hurt. It's not, oh, who hurt you, bro? Although, when I broke up, it was like painful or whatever, emotionally. But um yeah, I mean, it's almost like I used to think that it was a choice. I was like, oh, I'm just choosing not to love girls. I'm just choosing not. But I honestly think that the older the more experience you get, the more red pill or the whatever pill you want to call it, the more you know about female nature, the more experience you get with women. I mean, a lot of the time it's said that, I mean, it's said that, the more men women get with, the more difficult it is for them uh to like, form a bond, form a relationship with the guy. But in my, like, honestly, for me, I feel like that's almost like the same for me. I i feel like the more I know, the more truth I know. And I wouldn't take this back. I wouldn't prefer to be innocent. I wouldn't prefer, I would obviously, I'm glad I know what I know, and I'm glad I get the experience that I get. uh but I do think the more women you get with and the more you know about them, and you combine that with the times that we live in, I think it's, when you combine all those things, like the experience, like getting with lots of women, you combine the red pill knowledge, about the truth about female nature, and then you combine that with the times we live in, like 2022, when, feminism and progressivism and boss bitches, and like, it just makes it like almost, I can't even imagine catching feelings for a chick. I mean, it's not that I hate chicks at all. Sometimes I spend time with women, and I enjoy it. I enjoy female company, but I like to keep it varied and limited. um, I definitely think that I'm an introvert, because even if I spend time with a chick that I like, in, spending time with, if I spend too much time with her, then, I mean, it's just a relief whenever they leave. Even if they're hot and they're fun and feminine, I just enjoy when they leave. It's, I mean, you could even say, I could probably even say that about friends as well. I mean, if yeah, spending like a whole day with someone is kind of tiring sometimes. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I think, I'm just not. I'm genuinely not. Yeah, I'm not a relationship kind of guy. But I think that's, like I said, a combination of all those things put together. That can kind of make you uh not pursue relationships with women, or not pursue, it sounds really gay to say it, but not pursue love. um I'm not interested in pursuing love. I always thought like love was, it's more of a straitjacket as well. Like, it is actually, if you think about it, when you genuinely love a girl, like I said before, you are in a vulnerable state. uh you're in a vulnerable state because you have feelings attached to her. So if she does something like cheats on you, it's gonna be a little bit traumatic, or very extremely traumatic for some guys. Um, I think back to when I was like in my early 20s, and I think about, like, if one of my girlfriends were to cheat on me, maybe they did. I don't think they ever did. I don't know if they did. Maybe they did, but it was never revealed to me. But if they did, I think it would have been like so fucking traumatic for me, because I was emotionally invested in them, and I was blue pill, and I believed in the one and all that kind of shit. But, you know, if a girl I was dating now cheated on me, I wouldn't really care. I just wouldn't care because I'm not emotionally invested in it. It's like when you over invest in a chick, you leave yourself open to being cucked. Like, I kind of, you know what I mean? like when you like super invested in a chick and she's mine and like I love her so much and she's my whole world and like you're leaving yourself open to being like crushed, absolutely crushed, because if she leaves you or if yeah, if she cheats on you, then like you're just this like mess of a cuck. You're crying, weeping cuck. you know. Um I don't know. I just think there's a ton of freedom that comes with not emotionally investing in chicks. And I mean, I'm not saying I'm not saying you have to be super cold to chicks or you have to hate chicks or anything like that. I'm not spreading hate. I'm not spreading hate. No, but seriously, like when you fall in love with a chick and she's like your whole world, yeah, I do think you're kind of a weaker person, you know? All the normies gonna hate that. Gonna hate that a lot. But yeah, that's how I feel about it. Like you're free to do whatever you want. Cause if you genuinely do love a chick, you're gonna be your mind, your mental space is gonna be a lot of the time it's gonna be preoccupied about them. You're gonna be thinking about you're gonna be thinking about them all the time. You're going to be worried about them. You're going to be concerned about whether or not she's like talking to other guys or not. You're going to be concerned about, like if you genuinely love her, you're going to be like worried, oh, is she going out, like, you know, you have to, it's just such an annoying thing to give a shit about, you know, having to worry about where your chick is at. It's kind of like beta, isn't it? It's I always thought like guys that really like tried to track their chicks or like even attempted to check up on them and like find out exactly what they're doing or trying to check their messages and all that stuff. I always thought that was weak and beta. I never did that. Even with the chicks, like I mean it's so long ago since I like properly, like I said, I've only loved two chicks that I would consider love, because I guess it was like love is when you're genuinely concerned, like genuinely concerned about what, you know, about your relationship with a chick. I mean, and like it's been a long, I think it's only been two chicks that in my life, and I've been with like hundreds, and I'm not trying to brag or anything. Most of them are just extremely casual hookups, but um yeah, I mean it's just something like I just remember back to how I like the mental space I had back when I was in those relationships. Obviously, I was very young, but at the same time, I had less mental space, less mental freedom, because I was concerned. I was preoccupied w- with what they were doing, with you know what they were up to. And I was worried if they would have, you know, I was thinking, oh, like if they went out with their friends, I was worried that they were gonna meet another guy. You know, when you're at some in a space like I'm at now, when I'm 34, and I'm just kind of casually playing the game, I'm I'm not vulnerable. I can't be. None of these women can impact me. There's nothing that they can do. Like some chick that I'm casually seeing, like tells me, "Oh, I hooked up with this guy last night." I'm like, "Oh," like if they did that, I'd be like, "Oh, yeah, whatever. I don't give a fuck." Like it's like I don't care. Like it's indifference, and that's like that. That really that makes chicks, in my opinion, that makes chicks like you more. It makes chicks like you more because you're like, she's like, "Oh my god, he doesn't care." Like and it's not like, yeah, it's like genuinely, I don't care. All right, whatever. On to the next one. They can't get at you. But if a girl that you love did that, it's like gonna ruin your life. It's gonna ruin your life, right? Um, But when you're just, but the other thing is, it's not, I think the state of mind, the state of mind you have to get into, like, it's not something you can just, you have to kind of live the experience. You have to get that experience. You have to go through it. I don't think you can just learn it. I don't think you can just say to yourself, "Oh, I'm just gonna be, I'm just not gonna fall in love with chicks, or I'm not going to, you know, get emotionally attached." I think you can't do, if you don't have any experience with girls, you're not gonna be that guy. You're gonna like, you're gonna get attached. It's almost like you have to go through it, and then you come through that, those like relationships, and then you gain more experience, and then you can decide to be someone like me, where it's like you don't get emotional with chicks, no matter how hot they are, no matter how much you enjoy their company. And like I said, you're not being cold, but you're just not like giving yourself up. You're not you're not just like getting emotionally, not investing in women emotionally, or financially or anything. But you're just, uh Fat Andy says, greetings, just sub. Good stuff, brother. Good stuff. Um, yeah, so it's not this idea that you're a stone wall to chicks. You're just like completely cold to them. I mean, if you're completely cold to women and you show no emotion whatsoever, she's not gonna really come. She's not gonna want to spend time with you. She's not gonna want to be around you. That's just the way it is. But I mean, you need to be a fun person to be around, obviously. But yeah, it's just basically you're not over investing. You kind of enjoy the time you have with them, but it's like, if she went and hooked up with another guy, who gives a fuck? I don't care. Like, I don't care. I really don't. It's not like, oh, she's hooking up with another guy. It's like I have to put up with it. No, it's like I don't care. Like, it's because I when you try and control, when you try and manipulate and control women, it just, you're leaving in my opinion, you're leaving yourself open to being like cucked, because you're like, oh, you're trying to put all the pieces in place and make sure she doesn't step out of line, and doing everything right, and then she goes and sucks some dick, and you're just this fucking idiot that looks like a fucking idiot because you're trying to control her, and like control all the pieces, and it all falls apart. I just think you look like more of a dickhead when that happens. But I mean, this is just me, man, because I've been through, and I'm not even necessarily criticizing. I'm not criticizing guys that fall in love with chicks, but I'm just saying it is, you are undoubtedly leaving yourself open to being more vulnerable. Like, especially just in this day and age, man. Like, the other thing, like when you live like the player lifestyle, and it sounds cheesy or whatever, but yeah, like I do live a player lifestyle, like bang a lot of women. Like it is what it is. Like I don't get into relationships and I bang a lot of women. What else am I gonna call it? Call it the player lifestyle, I guess. So when you do that, you just come across so many different kinds of women and different scenarios, and you start to gather data. Well, you've been gathering data all your life, right? From your life experiences. But you get to a point where you're like, holy shit, there's patterns here. There's patterns to the time we live in. And you know I'm telling you, I've been with girls that have boyfriends, girls that have husbands, girls that, you start to see that girls are never single. That's the other thing you learn. Girls are never single. Like, when a guy is single, he's single. There's no, like, even if you're an above average guy, even if you're an above average guy, let's say you're a 7 out of 10 guy. You're you're tall, you dress well, you're good, like you're reasonably good looking, you're an above average guy, 7 out of 10. It's it's likely that unless you're famous or something or whatever, you're an average 7 out of 10 guy. So you're 7 out of 10 in looks, but the other aspects of your life are average. There's gonna be no chicks DMing you. There's gonna be nothing like, even if you're a top tier guy, yeah, I'm sure if you're a top tier guy, 10 out of 10 looks, you're gonna have chicks adding you on Instagram. You're gonna, but still, it's gonna be nothing like even what an average chick experiences on social media. Even average chicks on social media get tons of DMs. They're dealing with multiple guys. So even like the best case scenario is that if you're looking for a girl to get into a relationship with, the best case scenario is that a bunch of guys are DMing her. Worst case scenario is obviously she's married or you know dating multiple guys at the same time. But they're all dating multiple guys, or they're all kind of dating multiple guys at the same time. In 2022, trust me, they are. They're all kind of doing. They're all like just because these chicks, and it's not even their fault. I'm not blaming women for this. It's like it's nature. As men want to spread the seed, women want to find the best seed. So they're kind of, women are just getting dick thrown at them, like mostly digitally. Most guys don't do cold approaches. That's why I'm such a fan of cold approach, because it's something that most guys don't do, and you give yourself such a. I mean, it's like the kind of girls that I've gotten with from cold approach. I know I would never I wouldn't match with them on a dating app. They wouldn't reply to my DM, and I'm being honest. Like I'm being honest. But in real life, I'm able to roll up to them. I look good. I dress well, but online, I don't catfish. I don't change up my profile and all that. So sometimes I think I look worse online. Like I mean, digitally. I mean, photogenically, I think I look worse. Um, a lot of women will, obviously, a lot of women will. It's the opposite. They'll like look better in their photos. I think I tend to, yeah, judging myself, I think I tend to look worse in my photos, and I'm able to discern what's a good photo and whatnot. But I like art. I like, I have an aesthetic eye, so I understand this stuff. But um, yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're gonna run the online dating thing, you have to do it properly. I mean, you have to put effort into it. You have to have good photos and all that shit. But I mean, if you're a 10 out of, like, if you have those model looks, you can just like take a selfie. You're gonna get, yeah. I mean, we're not all equal. We're not all born equal. We're not all the same. Some guys have a just massive advantage, and the guys at the top basically take all the pussy on online dating. So that's my opinion on it. You know, some guys have different opinions about it. That's fine. That's fine by me. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's just different. These girls, like, my point is, these girls are not single. None of them are single. Can you comprehend that? Like, they're not single. They're already. Guys get caught up. Guys get worried about. Oh, she has a boyfriend. It's like, dude, of course, like. Sure, okay, yeah, if she's like obviously married or obviously, you know, in a relationship, you might not want to go there. But I mean, so a lot of the times, a lot of the girls that, all of the girls that I've, that have cheated with me, they've had a boyfriend or a husband or whatever. It's not like I saw them with a husband or I saw them with their boyfriend and then said, "Oh, I'm going to approach her." No, it's like I saw a girl alone and then I approached her and then found out maybe sometimes after, like after the fact, after I've done the deed, that they had a boyfriend. It wasn't like I was like searching out a girl that had but that's like there's this idea as well that I don't agree with, that if a girl cheats on her husband or boyfriend or whoever, that she's checked out of the relationship. I've been with tons of like plenty of girls that are cheating, have cheated, but they're not necessarily intending on checking out of the relationship. That's another one of the reasons I'm kind of jaded about even the idea. There's a lot of reasons about why I'm not really interested in having any kind of monogamous relationship with a chick. It's not like there's not one reason, it's a bunch of different reasons. And that's one of them. It's like, what's the point? Like, I mean, like the chances of her not like of it lasting or being anything meaningful or long term or just, I mean, because of my fault too, is because I don't want to be monogamous either. I don't want to be. I don't. I don't really. I just don't ever see myself being monogamous. I don't see that happening. The only way, and it's kind of morbid, the only way I could see it happening somehow is if I got really sick or if I was like, I lost all my sex drive or something. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But I mean, that's just being real. That's just me being honest. That's the only way I could see myself like kind of checking out of that's the only way I could see myself somehow possibly being monogamous. But even then, I don't think I would. But yeah, I mean, there's so much temptation in the modern dating world. Like tons of temptation for both men and women. But the difference between men and women is women can women are tempted and they can get it, guys have to work for it. That's the big difference between, that's because everyone knows, if a guy for a guy to get laid, he has to have something special about him. There has to be something about him. But for a girl to get laid, the bar is so fucking low. The bar is so low. They don't have to do much. They really don't have to do much. A girl pretty much, like, I mean, the studies show, we've all seen it, like, there's a girl doesn't even need to put photos on her dating profile. She's still going to get tons of matches. Like, tons of matches. Literally has no photos. That's the kind of desperation there is. That's the kind of thirst there is amongst men. It's just, and it is what it is. It's in male nature. Um, Danny Arnold says, I remember feeling amazed the first time a married woman was giving me strong signals and IOIs. She was married and had 2 daughters and kept throwing constant innuendos and giving me the green. I mean, yeah, I mean, and so the thing is, sometimes those women don't intend on checking out of the marriage. Like they're reasonably content in the marriage situation, but they just want like some fun. And that's some idea I think a lot of red pill content creators don't. They tend to think, oh, if she's cheating, she's checked out, she's fully checked out. It's not necessarily that way, man. These chicks want excitement too. They want excitement too. And apparently chicks get bored in the bedroom faster than men. Um, it's like guys. I think guys are the ones that kind of. I think guys are definitely freakier than women. Like, I'll just be honest about that. Like, I think that's pretty much. I think this, any woman can. Danny says any woman can turn on a dime and cheat. I mean, if the circumstances are right, I mean, some of the chicks that I've gotten with that have cheated with me, it's just because the circumstances were right. It could have been. So, for example, one of the girls had cheated with me about a month ago. She, I approached her. I didn't know she had a boyfriend. She was on a train platform, and I cold approached her. I was on my way home, and I gamed her and I said, "Hey, let's have a drink." And she was kind of hesitant, shit testing me. She was like, "Okay, if you win rock paper scissors, like I'll have a drink with you." And I lost, but she still came and have a drink with me. It's always like, don't listen to what girls say. Watch what they're doing. Like if a girl's like playing fucking rock paper scissors with you, obviously she's kind of interested in you. You know what I mean? It's not like, so I didn't care that she said, "Oh, if you lose, I'm not gonna come with you." I knew that just the fact that she's engaging in this playful behavior told me, "Oh yeah, this girl's down. Like she's down. It doesn't matter whether I win or not." Of course, I lost, and then she still, she got off at the next stop, and we went and had a drink. But anyway, this girl had she had she revealed, like, I was kind of escalating with her, and she said, "Oh my god, I have a boyfriend." And I was like, "I don't know you have a boyfriend." And then she started shit talking him, telling me like that they had a fight and stuff. So the fact that they had a fight, and then she was kind of like, it was just the right circumstances. You know what I mean? In another on another day, she might not have she might not have done that. She might not have like cheated. But it's just the fact that I rolled up to her at the right time, the right place, and one thing led to another. It is what it is, man. Um, it is what it is. It's a dog eat dog world. I mean, it's not. I don't know the guy. I have nothing against the guy. I don't fucking, you know. But if it's not gonna be me, it's gonna be some other guy. Like, you know, who cares, man? Like, who gives a fuck? I mean, like I said, I'm not telling you to go out of your way to try and like bang married chicks or girls that are in relationships. But my point is, they're all kind of in relationships, even if they're single. They're dealing with multiple guys. They're dealing with multiple guys. Like, there's all these girls are banging too as well. Like they're all having sex like pretty regularly. Because it's just it's just so easy for them to get laid. There's guys come cold approaching them. Not many, but there are. I mean, if she goes out on a night, if she goes out at night, there's gonna be a lot of guys hitting on her. Eventually, one of the guys, she's gonna be like, "Oh, he's hot," or he's my type, and she's gonna have sex with him. I mean, it's, yeah, girls are having sex. Trust me. So if you're gonna have all these morals about, "Oh, she has a boyfriend. I must do the right thing." I mean, if it's your friend, sure. Like, if it's your friend, like, of course, don't deal like try and bang your friend's chick. I'm not like that scummy. Definitely don't do that. That's like bottom of the barrel behavior. You deserve to get your ass kicked for that. But what I'm like, if you cold approach a chick, like a hot chick, and she's, you don't know her boyfriend. He could be a dickhead anyway. So he might be cool, he might not be. But it's a dog eat dog world. You have to, like, don't care about that shit. Um, but anyway, I want to read this piece I saw on Twitter a while ago. It's just the savagery of the world we live in. It's like, it's pretty crazy read, actually. But let me get it up. All right, so let me see. Okay, so let's start off. My former lover is my husband's new boss, and I'm going to cheat on my husband with him. Good Lord. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. I made this account because I'm in a weird mix between excited and nervous right now, and I need to get it off somewhere. I will tell my best friend when I talk to her eventually, but I'm not sure when this is going to happen, as she has a lot going on right now. I only got to tell her the start of all this up to now. When I was in college, I had a lover who I'm going to call Tony. Tony is 2 years older than me. He hit on me, although I had a long distance boyfriend back then and was so charming, good looking, and nice that I quickly broke and ended up in bed with him. The sex was amazing, the best I ever had. Let me just stop there. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about why it becomes very difficult to take girls that have a high notch count serious. It's because the more of a notch count she had, the higher the likelihood that that she's gonna have had a guy that blew her back out better than you could. And sometimes it's not even anything that you could change. It's more of just sometimes people just like the chemistry is just better. So it might not necessarily be that you're bad in bed or anything. It's just the fact that you click better. I mean, I can understand that. There's some girls that I just click with better in bed, that there's just this more of a lust for. And it's just it's a chemistry. It's the pheromones, the smell, the taste. It's like drives you nuts more than. But anyway, the sex was amazing, the best I ever had. He knew what he did, had amazing stamina, fucked really hard, was dominant, and had a huge cock. He made me feel in ways I didn't know previously. I was his after we fucked, and the first time, and remained so until he finished college. My relationship ended during my affair with Tony. Can't recommend long distance relationships. But I never had a serious relationship with Tony, as I was not the only girl he was seeing back then. See, girls want guys that are already fucking. They do. It's the name of the game. They say they don't. They're fucking liars. You cannot listen to what chicks say because it's horse shit. I mean, sometimes they'll tell the truth. Like a lot of women these days are telling on themselves, so like it's not 100% true. So you can't listen to anything they say. But I mean, in general, like a lot of chicks will cap, like to try and come across as being agreeable and sociable, and it's kind of antisocial to say this kind of stuff. It's like it's not socially well, it's becoming more. It has become socially acceptable for chicks to be extremely promiscuous. But I mean, it's like, yeah, it's changed. It wasn't always that way. Um, we're living in the boss bitch era, but yeah, I mean, just chicks want to get with guys that are popular with chicks, aka banging other chicks already. Um, yeah, um, so after our university days, we didn't keep in touch, and I went on living my life. I moved to another city not too far away. Got to know my now husband, who I married last year. Beta Bucks guy. The marriage is great. I love my husband. We have nice friends here. Do a lot in our free time and both have decent jobs. I haven't forgotten about Tony, but I didn't think about him often and haven't talked to or texted him with him in years. Sometimes I remember the awesome sex, but that's about it. I viewed it as an exciting memory from my college days. I'm just going to come out and say it, guys. If a girl that you are in a relationship with now, or or are seeing, has had better sex with another guy from her past, that in itself is enough for her to cuck you someday. Because yeah, that's one of the reasons why a girl's notch count matters. Because like they cannot forget the alpha dick. It is what it is. Like, I mean, it's understandable. Like, it's understandable. Like, if you as a guy got with like a 10 out of 10, Like this fucking super hot girl. She ticked all your boxes. She was freaky in bed. Sex was amazing. Like, and then you go and you get with an average chick. You're gonna remember the fucking 10 out of 10. You're gonna be like close, like, you know what I mean? It's obvious. I mean, it's common sense, but it's extremely true for women. Like, they're really gonna always remember that. So if if you don't match up to that dude that blew her back out in the past, it's like, of course you can try and level up, but sometimes, like I said, it's a chemistry thing. Sometimes it's not really anything. Sometimes it's not even physical, or although it's probably physical. Like, he had a bigger dick, or he's like, he knew how to fuck better. These are some cold, hard, uncomfortable truths. Like, so this is one of the reasons a female's notch count does matter if you want to get in a relationship with them. And it's another one of the reasons I'm not really interested in relationships these days, because all these chicks have ridiculously high notch counts. Like, I'm like, I'm a dude, but I'm a dude. I have a very high notch count, but I'm a dude. Um, you know, it's yeah. So yeah, let's continue. But okay. But now, by chance, he has popped up in my life again because he's my husband's new boss. Cocked. Oh my god. My husband's old boss was hired away, and they replaced him with Tony, who was himself hired away from another company. Tony apparently saw my picture on my husband's desk and told him that he knew me from my college days, but seemingly nothing more. My husband then told me about that at home and asked me how well we knew each other, and I truthfully told him that he was my longtime lover in college. Oh my god, that in itself is brutal. Brutal. Imagine, like, your wife, your boss has been like banging your wife when she was in the prime of her life. That is like, oh my god, that would be enough to make you quit your job alone. You would have to quit, wouldn't you? You'd have to quit if your boss was boning your wife when she was in the prime of her life, and you're getting the probably you probably got the, like, yeah, like the when she was approaching the wall phase, when she was like way past her prime. You're the beta bucks dude that gets the leftovers. Anyway, we've talked about our past relationships and hookups before, but never in great detail, as we think it's not that important, or at least I thought so until recently. So he knew that I had such a lover, but he didn't know his name and doesn't know that I even cheated on my then boyfriend with him. I also didn't tell him how amazing the sex with Tony was, but I would have if my husband would have asked about it. I mean, that's also another thing about love. You know, if you love a girl and if you love a girl and she tells you something like that, like she tells you that the sex with another man was amazing, and like, implying that it was way better than the sex with you, that is like, that's a brutal truth that is going to be way too much to handle for the vast majority of guys. Well, like, when you're emotionally invested in a chick, like, it's like a soul crushing, like, statement from a chick to a guy. So, well, like, when you, like, even if you don't love a chick, I think it would sting a little. It would sting somewhat. But when you, like, love a chick, when, like, that's your one itis, when that's like your whole world, that's like, that I think a lot of guys. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty dark and morbid, but I'm sure some guys have self deleted themselves over similar statements. But I mean, but when you don't love a chick, it's not as impactful. I mean, it'll hurt your ego a little bit. It should, in a way, it should hurt your ego. Like, it's so, kind of normal, because you should want to be good in bed. these guys, there's this idea like amongst, I don't care about how she, her orgasm. I don't care. I just care about getting my bit. And it's like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, that's a cope. Like, in my opinion, that's a strong cope when guys do that. I don't care about making her come. It's all about my orgasm. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. You care. You're just coping, man. You just shut the fuck up. Like, every guy should want to be good in bed. Like, it's an alpha thing. It's a dominant thing to be able to make a girl like orgasm and come. Like, why would you not want to do that? Like, it's stupid to like pretend that, I don't care about it. You do care about it. Shut the fuck up. Um. Anyway, and if you don't care about it, she's not like, if you don't care about making a girl come or not, you're probably suck in bed, and then she's gonna cheat. She's definitely gonna cheat on you, or she's gonna get it from elsewhere. That's the thing about chicks. Like, they source out good sex. Like, they will find it. They will get it. If they're not getting it from you, they're gonna go and get it. Like, guys have to understand that chicks are more calculating than you'd realize, guys. Like, they, yeah. Anyway, um, but I would have. Anyway. She said, I also didn't tell him how amazing the sex was, but I would have if my husband would have asked about it. She would have told him about it. How brutal is that? Oh my god! Like, yeah, like, dude. Like, if one of my ex-girlfriends, like the ones that I said I had loved in my previous a long time ago, that would have crushed me if that had happened. Like, if they fucking told me about their ex sex friend that blew their back out better than I would have been too young and too naive to be able to handle that. Like, I'll be honest, like, I'm 34 now. I would be able to, it would, I'm just in such a different headspace right now that I'm not as emotional as I'm not as naive as I was back then. So I can't really it is I'm a completely different version now than compared to the version I was back when I was in my early 20s. I'm a different human altogether. Um so, like, if a girl told me that, you know, if a girl tried to, like, hurt me in this way, I'd be like, all right, good luck. Fuck you too. I don't think it would impact me that much. I mean, it would let me, like, jab at my ego a little bit. I'd be like, okay, fuck you too, and I wouldn't see her again. But yeah, I wouldn't lose sleep over it. I'm at a point, now, because I've been saying that I'm not emotionally investing in chicks. So if a chick hypothetically came to me and tried to, like, insult me by, like, telling me that some other guy was way better in bed and, like, had a bigger dick and, like, all that shit, I don't I would I wouldn't lose sleep over it. I'd be like, yeah, fuck you too, and that would be it. It wouldn't be a big deal. Um because you become more emotionally, like, the older you get, you should be becoming more emotionally stable, emotionally stronger. You're able to deal with shit tests. You're like, it shouldn't impact you. It should be like water off a duck's back. But, like, when you're young and emotionally invested in a woman like that, it's like brutal. Like, it's like a knife going into your heart. Certainly, like, a lot of guys just would not be able to handle that kind of devastating insult. But so my husband didn't seem to like the fact that his new boss used to bone his wife, but he wasn't furious or something, just a bit annoyed by it. I mean, that the combination of him being his boss and boning his wife in the prime of her life and, like, being way better in bed and having a bigger dick. I mean, if this is true, you'd have to, like, you'd have to fucking, I don't know what you'd like. My advice would certainly be to quit your job and probably find another job, because it's not really sustainable, is it? To have, like, your boss that used to bone your wife It seems like something. It's a step. There's a red line, and that seems to be like a line that's just being crossed. Um, but this is all like kind of shit. This is like nightmare scenario kind of shit. Like for getting in. This is kind of stuff that is like nightmare. It's a nightmare situation for any normal dude. Um, the next few weeks, my husband started to not like Tony as his boss for reasons seemingly unrelated to him being my former lover. He said that Tony is arrogant and generally not that super popular around the office with people having different opinions about him. My husband told me that he thinks that Tony is picking on him a little bit sometimes and has an extra arrogant attitude when he talks with my husband alone because he probably has an idea that my husband know about Tony's and my past. Not gonna lie, both of that sounds like things Tony would do, and I have to admit, I immediately found that hot when my husband told me about it. So she's getting off to the fact that her ex lover is cucking her husband. This stuff, like, a lot of guys don't like to believe that women can be this cold or this like savage, but you would you would not believe it, guys. It is not only is it possible, it's more common than you'd realize. Um uh yeah, I mean, you wouldn't believe women have dark fantasies too, guys. Like women have like dark sexual fantasies as well. So you gotta accept that and admit it. And not be thinking that they're all these innocent ain't. They're far from it, man. Um. Uh. Okay, so I told him not to read too much into these things, but if he thought it would go on, then he could look into changing departments. My husband still thinks Tony has an arrogant smirk on his face every time they talk to each other. My husband really dislikes him and it visibly makes him feel insecure, which again, I'm not proud of that, but it really does turn me on a little bit. Women are just attracted to more dominant men, guys. It's just something you have to internalize and understand. Like, there's no getting around it. No matter how sweet she is, no matter how, oh, she's a unicorn, she's different. Like, forget all of that shit. Like, they're all attracted to more dominant men. It's biological. It's we evolved over millions of years. You're not going to change that cold hard fact. Doesn't no matter how nice you are. Doesn't matter how much you made her laugh. The more dominant man, comes in onto the scene that she's attracted to, she's gonna be more turned on and attracted to the more dominant guy. All right. Um, Ever since Tony has become my husband's boss, I think about Tony more frequently than I have in years, and it makes me wet often. I have played with myself to the memories of when Tony fucked me several times. Brutal, man. Brutal. Um, Now, a few weeks ago, Tony reached out to me. He texted me saying that now we apparently are living in the same place. We could meet up again for old time's sake if I wanted to, etc. I dodged that at first, but for obvious reasons. But you could just tell from the text that he knew how to sweet talk me into getting what he wants from me. He also elegantly dropped the fact that he is my husband's superior now, which I think he did to assert dominance in a way. However, I agreed to meet up with him at a relatively far from where he live or I, so that it is unlikely that anyone there knows one of us. Yeah, this grammar is kind of messed up. Anyway, we sat down there for a couple of hours and had a great chat. At first, was about old times and what other people we knew from college did now, who we were still in touch with, and who not. Okay, maybe this is not a native English speaker, but anyway, we're getting the gist of the story. the person who ever wrote this. But anyway, then the conversation turned to the current situation, and you could tell Tony enjoyed talking about how he was my husband's boss and that he could give him orders. You know, if this is true, I mean, the guy knows that women are attracted to dominant men. You know, it's important to know that. Um, even especially for the bedroom, you have to be dominant in the bedroom. He got me to admit that my husband really doesn't like him, and he hates the fact that the boss he hates used to fuck his wife. I mean, like I said, that's a red line. You would have to change jobs, wouldn't you? I don't know what else you would do. Like, if you're, it's either one or the other. Either you leave the wife or you leave the fucking job. Like, I don't think you can. You'd have to change something, wouldn't you? He said, "Oh, too bad for him, I suppose, but I'm afraid there's nothing he can do about that." And giggled. Man, that is smug. This guy deserves a beating, to be honest. But he had this arrogant, cocky, and triumphant attitude again that made me secretly wanting to drop under the table and suck his huge cock right then and there. Here's the thing, guys. Like, you have to understand that women like arrogance and cockiness when it comes from a place, when it comes from somewhere real. If there's any if there's any falsity to it, or any kind of, if you're fronting about it, they they despise that. So, but if the arrogance or cockiness comes from a genuine, from an authentic place, you're extremely attracted to it. um and it's just one of those things, man. I mean, it's like, no, guy, you don't want to be a dickhead, but you have to understand that they are attracted to that, you know. So we talked a bit about that a little more, and I think he noticed that I was turned on by him being my husband's boss. At one point, he straight up asked who was better in bed, and I refused to answer, but gave him a look that said, "You and me both know the answer to this question." At the end, he told me that he had to send someone on a business trip in a few weeks' time, and that he would send my husband just because he can, which made me extremely horny, and I was unable to hide that from Tony at that moment. I mean, here's the thing: just the fact that she is meeting this guy is 1000% a confirmation that this guy dicked her down better. If this guy wasn't as good in bed, there's not a chance she would meet this guy. And that's the cold hard truth. Like, you it's just by this, like I said, by the simple fact that she's going to meet this guy, it tells you that this guy is the better guy, the guy that, she's cheating. Like, even though she's at this time she's not having sex with him, the fact that she went to meet him is, she might as well have sex with him, because it's the same thing. It's like it's cheating. You know, she's going to meet a guy that used to dick her down. Matt W says it was already over when she got wet thinking about him. Exactly. It was over then. It's over. The game's finished. Like, if your wife or girlfriend is getting wet about other men, like, yeah, I mean, but the thing is, you know, that it's just, the cold hard truth is, like, I do think, no, like, sex lives between couples can only have such a long shelf life. So a bit of a black pill is that eventually, no matter how good you are as a guy, no matter, good of all the money, muscles, and frame in the world, eventually your wife is going to get wet thinking about another guy. That's my opinion. You can disagree with it all you want, but that's we're all human. So that's one of the things you kind of have to accept if you're going to be in a relationship with the girl. You're going to have to accept that someday our sex life is going to get boring, and at least she's going to fantasize. She might not act on it. But she's going to fantasize about banging other dudes. Like, that's just nature, man. I mean, you can't, you know, that's, anyway. He said that he would like to come to visit my husband's and my apartment when my husband is on that business trip, and I said that this could maybe be arranged. Okay, goddamn. Now this business trip is going to start on Monday, and Tony is set to come over on Monday evening already. Since our meetup, we texted constantly, which then turned into sexting and exchanging nudes. He remains to this day the only person I've ever sent nudes, and I have to admit. So it is pretty clear what is going to happen on Monday, and I have to say I have fully accepted that I will cheat on my husband, and I 100% plan on going through with it. I don't know if I was ever as horny as I am right now, and the fact that Tony can just order my husband to go away, then come into our home and fuck me is turning me on very much. Um, Absolutely wild, man. I mean, a lot of people. I've been reading the comments. I noticed the comments, and people have been saying. Um, Here's a comment that says, "There's a lot of talk about this being probably written by a man. Um, Whether or not that's true, the point is, if you're not your girl's best option and she doesn't have genuine desire for you, you are in for a rough time." Um, I said, regardless of whether or not this is a fictional piece, situations like this are taking place thousands of times every day all over the world. We live in civilized societies, but sexual nature is still savage. Um, yeah, so there you have it. I mean, I just wanted to read that piece, and a lot of guys think situations like this are, while it's a really terrible, like it's a nightmare situation. The reality is, nightmare situations like this take place every day in every country all over the world, like they do. Um, like it almost sounds. I could see that it might be written by a man, but again, that's besides the point. Whether it's a fictional piece or not, similar situations or different variations of a story like that, they happen. They happen regularly. They happen, and there's probably someone that is engaging or is getting something like that done to them, or something similar. It is what it is. Danny Arnold says, there are no good girls gone bad. There's only girls who haven't been found out yet. Mae West. All right, that's pretty much, man. I mean, pretty much, yeah, guys, I don't know. I'm just one of those guys that, you know, I'm not a relationship guy. I've come to realize. I mean, the last proper relationship I had was 2000, and I think it ended in 2014, 2015. Well, it was before I came to Japan. I've casually dated like so many chicks, but like the last time I actually was invested in a relationship, and I was like, when I was blue pill, um, I think it just becomes very hard to be invested in a relationship when you have experienced what I've experienced as a guy. When you've seen as much as I've seen, um, when you've been through it, like when you've come through it. So, like I said earlier in the episode, it's not getting to somewhere like a state of mind, where I'm at. It's not something you can just learn as an 18-year-old and be like, oh, I'm just gonna not emotionally attach myself to a chick. Is like you don't have that like foundation. You don't have that. You don't know enough. Like, you might know the theory if you watch, like, if you've watched some YouTube videos, you might know some truths about it. But it's in reality, if you're a 19-year-old kid, a 20-year-old kid, and you you meet a girl and she's hot, and you're gonna like probably involuntarily attach feelings to her. So you kind of have to come through it. Like you have to get your heart broken, get like you have to go through that kind of trauma. And then you come out on the other side, and you're kind of like almost like bulletproof. You know, um, like I'm at a situation where let's say hypothetically, if one of my, because I'm in a situation where I'm not going to be in a marriage situation like in the story that we just read. I'm not going to be in it. I'm just not. But let's say one of my plates or one of the girls I've been casually dating like revealed that to me. Like it would sting like a little, it would sting my ego, but it wouldn't sting my heart. It wouldn't I wouldn't lose sleep over it. And I mean that. Like I really wouldn't lose sleep over it. And that's like a power. Like that is a you like you're a stronger person if like a girl can't get to you. So that's her biggest like weapon is to like land a bomb, like launch that missile, like where she tells me that like she's been with a guy that is like superior to me in bed, and like she fantasizes about him. He makes her wet. Like that's her biggest weapon against me, and it can't really do that much. I mean, yeah, like I said, I would care. I would be like, okay, that's that hurts my ego a little bit, but like emotionally, I would be like, well, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't get like, okay, next, like yeah, I would just not see her again if she's gonna play those kind of games, Um, you know what I mean? Like just, if she's gonna try and like fuck with me like that, I would just tell her to get fucked, and it's not gonna be a big issue. But like when you're young, a lot of guys can't handle that. Those like can't handle that shit. Can't handle. You have to come through it. You have to like. You have to go through breakups. You have to like experience relationships. You have to go through all that. But like, yeah. But I mean, it is part of the reason. I think a lot of stories like this, a lot of guys think it's hyperbole or it's fiction. And again, like I said, it's regardless of whether that particular story is fiction or not. There's thousands of all over the world, every like even in your neighborhood, there's shit going on like that, cheating. So I just don't particularly see the point in emotionally investing in a chick, because like if you do, you're gonna like you're leaving yourself open to being like devastated. Like yeah, because if you were emotionally attached to a chick and like it would affect you would lose sleep over it. But because you're like tied, you're very connected to him, and then she's basically telling you that you're inferior at like a very primal level, you're inferior. There's something very primal about that, you know that she's essentially saying that if she had the chance to procreate with the other guy, she wouldn't have let you, um give her your seed to procreate with. That's a pretty brutal way of putting it, but it's actually very true. Anyway, um we've been going here for over an hour. If you're watching right now, hit the like button. If you're watching replay, smash the obviously smash the like button, comment. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Um, do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think I'm being too like, do you think I'm going MGTOW? I don't know. Am I MGTOW? I don't fucking know. I don't like being labeled, I don't even like being labeled as, oh, you're the red pill guy. Like, I mean, I just I don't like being labeled. I make I consume different opinions and I make my own. I decide for myself. Um, but yeah, until next time, guys. Peace out. Bye bye. Oh no, by the way, check out this trailer if you haven't watched it already. I'll share it now. Japan is open for business.